the life of the Absolute in time. On stillness, movement, and the sacred completeness of every fleeting moment. The ground that does not move. Before the first thought arises, before the first breath draws the world into form, there is something that has never been absent. Not a void, not a darkness, not a waiting, but a presence so total, so thoroughly here, that the mind accustomed to chasing objects passes right through it, the way light passes through glass without noticing the glass. This is stillness. Not the stillness of a stopped clock or a held breath, not the silence that follows noise and waits for noise to return. This is the stillness that is the very ground of consciousness itself, the stable background of all existence, the unmoving ocean within which every wave of experience rises, plays, and dissolves. The ancient traditions pointed to it with different fingers: Brahman, Tao, Ein Sof, the Godhead. The names are not the thing. But across centuries and continents, the same recognition surfaces in those who have sat long enough with the interior life. Beneath the ceaseless movement of thought, sensation, and emotion, there is something that has never moved. There is a ground that does not shift. To touch this stillness, even for a moment, is to recognize that you have always been touching it, that it has been the very substance of every experience you have ever had. To experience this stillness is not to enter a trance, not to escape the world. It is, paradoxically, to arrive at the most intimate contact with reality, to be established, without effort, in the eternity of existence. It is to discover that what you most fundamentally are has never been born and will never die. You are not a creature moving through time. You are, at your root, the timeless awareness in which time itself moves. The sacred irreversibility of the passing. And yet, the world moves. The leaf falls. The child laughs once, just so, in that particular slant of afternoon light that will never come again. The conversation turns on a single word. The grief arrives in a wave. The beauty of the face across the room catches you and is already beginning to be a memory. There are philosophies, and there are misunderstandings of mysticism, that treat this movement as illusion, as Maya, as something to be seen through and left behind. They imagine that if stillness is the truth, then phenomena must be falsehood. That if eternity is real, the temporal must be unreal. That to be awakened is to be done with the heartbreak and the wonder of things. But consider what the recognition of stillness actually reveals about movement. If the Absolute is the ground of all phenomena, not separate from them, not behind them as a hidden cause, but genuinely their substance and nature, then every movement of time is not a deviation from truth but an expression of it. The fact that this moment cannot be repeated is not its poverty. It is its absolute wealth. It is the very source of its power to move us to tears. The unique and unrepeatable nature of each phenomenon does not make phenomena less real. It makes them infinitely precious. It transforms the ordinary into the sacred, not by adding something to it, not by sanctifying it from outside, but by recognizing what it already is, a complete and singular gesture of the Absolute, never to be made again in quite this way. Blossoming, where stillness becomes meaning. If stillness is the truth of life, its essence, its eternal nature, Then what is movement? It is not the opposite of stillness. It is the blossoming of stillness. It is the way essence becomes visible to itself. Think of how a flower does not contradict the seed. The flower is the completion of what the seed always was. The movement from seed to flower is not a departure from truth, but truth arriving at its fullness, truth discovering what it contains. So it is with the movement of existence in time. It is eternity discovering its own depth, stillness flowering into meaning. This is why phenomena do not merely exist. They matter. This is why art moves us, why music opens something in the chest that reasoning cannot reach, why the death of someone loved has a weight that no philosophy can fully hold. These are not accidents, not mere biological responses. They are the universe recognizing itself, the absolute encountering itself through the temporary form it has taken. Movement in time is how eternity speaks. Each moment is a word of that language, spoken once, complete in itself, irreducible to any other word. To live with this understanding is to inhabit a double awareness, the vast, unmoving peace of the eternal ground and the acute, trembling aliveness of each passing moment. Neither cancels the other. Together they constitute a fullness of being that neither alone could achieve. The Grand Mystery. 1, not 2. We have spoken of stillness and movement as if they were two things. But perhaps this is the deepest place the contemplation leads, to the recognition that they are not two, that the apparent opposition between the timeless and the temporal, between the absolute and its expression in phenomena, is itself a movement within the absolute, a way the one has of playing with itself, of discovering itself through the game of seeming division. There is a paradox at the heart of all genuine mystical experience. The moment you become truly still, not the stillness of suppressed thought, but the open, awake, luminous stillness of pure awareness, you do not leave the world behind. The world becomes more vivid, not less. Colors are more themselves. The sound of rain is more perfectly rain. The face before you is more fully a face, more irreducibly itself, than it ever appeared through the fog of habitual seeing. This is the signature of genuine realization, not a withdrawal into some inner sanctum where phenomena cannot reach, but a radical arrival in the world as it actually is. The stillness does not silence the world. It lets the world be heard for the first time. Stillness and blossoming are not two states to be chosen between. United, they reveal the grand mystery, the life of the absolute in time. This is what the mystics meant when they said that nirvana and samsara are the same, that the world of form and the formless ground are not enemies but lovers, two faces of one inexhaustible presence, which is life itself, in its fullness, playing the extraordinary game of being both infinite and finite, both eternal and entirely, achingly here. Sacred awe, every moment, complete. And so we arrive at what may be the most astonishing truth of all, the one that, when it lands in genuine understanding, produces not pride or conclusion but something more like a quiet, breathless wonder. Something like the feeling of standing at the edge of an immensity. Every moment, life is complete, not becoming complete, not awaiting completion in some future redemption or final understanding. Complete now, in its actual happening, in its very motion. The wave does not need to reach the shore to be fully a wave. The note does not need to resolve into the chord to be fully itself. This moment, this exact configuration of light and breath and awareness and world, is not a step toward something. It is already the whole of it. Life breathes in its truth without leaving traces. This is the meaning of the teaching that genuine wisdom leaves no residue, no accumulation of experience that separates the knower from the freshness of the present. The river of existence flows through, completely, and the ground remains clean and open for what comes next. There is no holding. There is no clinging. There is only the perpetual, astonishing gift of this, and then this, and then this. This is the great mystery that brings sacred awe. At any moment, in any moment, life is already and entirely itself. To live from this understanding is not to achieve a permanent state of bliss. It is something both more modest and more radical, to meet each moment as the complete expression of an infinite reality. To look at the cup of morning tea, the face of a stranger, the difficult news, the unexpected joy, and to recognize in each, without needing to name it, the life of the absolute breathing through time. The sacred is not elsewhere. It is not reserved for mountaintops or temples or extraordinary experiences. It is the very texture of what is, here, now, in the only moment that has ever existed or will ever exist. This one.